So our project requires two entities, the band entity and album entity. So let's create those. First, I'm going to create a folder called entities. So I'm just gonna add a folder into my project and call it entities. And in it, I'm going to add a class. And first, let's do the band. So what do we need here? Well, first of all, we need, of course, an ID. So let's create a property for an ID. And usually it could be an integer, it could also be a string, but quite often a key or an ID would be a GUID. So I'm going to use that one for this project. And I'll call this simply ID. The next property, of course, is going to be the name of the band. So that's gonna be a string, and I'll just call it name. Next, let's create a property for the date when the band was founded. So it could be a date time, and I'll simply call it founded. Next property can be for the genre or the main genre the band plays. Now, of course, each band can have multiple genres, but this one will be like the main genre that it plays. So this one's gonna be a string, and I'll call it main genre. And finally, each band will have a collection of albums. It could be one album or more. So we are going to add it as a collection. So it's gonna be a property of iCollection, and it's gonna be of type album. Now this is the class that we will create. We don't have it yet, but we will create it right after this one. And I'll call this albums. Now since this is a collection, I want to instantiate it right here to avoid any null reference exceptions, because when we have a list that's not instantiated, then we will get that exception. So I'm going to use an equal and set a new list of album. And again, album we don't have yet. So these are the properties that we need for the band. Now in the entities, let's create the album